Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks including possible loss of principal.
Views and opinions on this show are those of Premier Investments and Wealth Management and their guests alone and do not reflect any other entities. The information in the following program should not be construed as an offer to sell and is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax advisor or legal counsel. The statements in this program do not reflect those of Premier Investments and Wealth Management or its affiliates. Hi there, Doug Wagner with you, along with Roger Abel from Premier Investments and Wealth Management. He's the owner and wealth advisor at Premier Investments and Wealth Management with over 20 years of experience in the financial services industry. Roger, before we get to you and in full, I'm going to say hello there. Welcome to the program, and it's always good to see you. Welcome to Dallas.
Thanks, Doug. I always appreciate the good introduction, but I feel like usually I get a much better one.
Oh, see, I don't have that because I feel like I'm in here in the big kahuna.
Nice.
There we go. That's good.
I mean, after 15 years of this show, I feel like we're getting pretty good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes a conversation. I think that's one of the things that people like about it. It's a conversation across their table. It's where we meet them, not they have to come and meet us. Because it's something where whether they're sitting here on a Sunday morning, we're sitting there with them on the way to church, we're sitting there with them in their morning breakfast or morning cup of coffee, whatever it is. Before we get going to the program, I want people to know that you can get started on your journey to financial confidence. Just go to premieriwm.com and click Get Started. From there, answer a few questions, and then they will produce for you a one-page My Financial document that you can use no matter what. I mean, really, it's one of those nice things that you have the ability to grab a hold of the information, to really get what you want out of it, whether you're preparing for retirement, whether you're preparing for your child's education, or maybe that dream purchase that you have of the lakeside home, or I don't know, maybe even a Gulfside home. premieriwm.com is where you go in order to get that information by just putting in a little information. Schedule an appointment with them, and they will share the one-page My Financial Confidence Report with you by going to premieriwm.com. Roger, let's fix a problem today, shall we?
What do you want to fix?
Retirement is not what many retirees expected. And I'm 55 going on 56, and I think 56 going on 57. Sorry. I think there are a lot of people who, especially post-COVID, there's been a huge difference in what they expected for retirement and now what they have going into it. One of the things before we get into this 2024 survey that you're going to be talking about is that I've noticed is that there are a lot of people who think, oh, I'm going to retire when I'm 70 or 72. Well, they retire unexpectedly early for a number of reasons. What are some of those reasons?
Yeah, that's actually insightful. The number one reason is they aren't healthy enough to keep working. A lot of people end up retiring early because they're not healthy enough to keep working. And, it's funny that I find people that say I'm going to retire at 70 or 72 or I'm never going to retire. Yeah. Usually they're just using that as a crutch. Yeah. For I don't really want to save any money. Yeah. It is. And we've probably all been there and done that at some level. But yeah, statistically, if you go look at what ages people expect to retire and when in reality they retire, it's much earlier. The one thing that I think is hidden in that number, though, Doug, is when you think about when someone's going to retire, that doesn't mean they're done working. They could have just retired from the job that got them to where they wanted to go. Right. And what I mean by that is we're seeing something called the retirement phase where, hey, I've worked at one place for 25, 30, 35 years. It's got me to the point where I can be comfortable in retirement, but I'm not ready to be done working. Okay. And I think we're going to refer to this study that was done by Schroders. It's their retirement study. And this is numbers alarming to me, but only 4% of retirees say they're living their dream retirement.
That's not what it should be. I mean, this is not the 1920s or 30s or 40s.
Well, dream, it's relative to people, right?
Right.
Of course, do everybody live their dream lifestyle? No. But your dream retirement should be pretty well thought out in advance. And I think it's the one thing when we work with individuals, we really get them to try to recognize and think about before they retire, what am I going to do? What does it actually look like? And then do my finances match my goals? It's why we put together that Premier Vision document so we can tell people, are you on the right track? If not, what do you have to do to get on the right track? So that your answer to this question is higher than 4% of the people are living their dream. Here's what's even worse, Doug.
Okay.
It
gets worse. Thanks.
It's worse. 34% said things were not great, but not bad. 15% said they were struggling financially, and 4% said they're living a nightmare. So over 50% of the people weren't satisfied in retirement.
So 4% said they are living the dream. 4% said they were living the nightmare. This is the bell curve.
Yeah,
really,
that's exactly what it is. I mean, so it actually should be expected, but the question is, how do you actually start to move that bell curve and skew towards some level of satisfaction?
Well, I think part of it, Roger, is the fact that people are just, it seems almost just now getting used to this concept of having a financial plan. You're listening to and watching Premier Investments in Wealth Management here. It's a program with Roger Abel on News Talk 1190, newstalk1190.com here in Dallas. People are just getting used to this whole concept of having a financial plan. But as that makes itself better known and promulgates itself more, you think people are going to be able to make that shift toward living the dream?
I think if they plan early enough ahead, they can.
Okay.
I think there's a couple things that lend itself to not being satisfied in retirement. It's first, if you think about the real financial planning process at our industry level, we've been doing it for a long time,
right?
But 20 years ago, people weren't doing plans like they are today. The plans are very dynamic. You can quantify with the click of a button what could help somebody out versus all this manual paper to pen. You weren't here when we started the first radio show, but my cousin Doug Grimm hosted a radio show live on a different affiliate. And he started that show back in 1999. And he remembers when the stock jockeys would come on and give their hot stock pick of the week. So we've transitioned as an industry from what's the hot stock tip of the week to how do we provide planning and all the minutia that make things better for people. So it's no longer just what's hot and flashy. It's what's going to give you a level of confidence in retirement, how we get there. But I think for people to get to a point where they feel good about retirement, Doug, they have to do a level of planning. And it's not 6 months before they retire. It should start 20 years at a time. At least.
Yeah. Now, this is about educating and inspiring people rather than just trying to sell them a widget or just sell them something because, like you said, it's not stock jockeys. You're not here to promote this, that, or the other because you got a lot of arrows in the quiver. You have to sit down with people and figure out just exactly what they need. But part of the issue with the people that retirement is not what they expected is that things have changed not only since the times you were talking about back when there was a very static mold of what people could retire into. Now it's more dynamic. Expenses are higher than people are expected, but that was even before COVID hit because medical expenses are way out of proportion with what people expect.
In general, we find that people underestimate what they're going to spend.
Yeah.
And most of it is, one, they don't want to put the effort into it to really figure it out. But two, they haven't come up with a good vision of what their retirement's really going to look like.
Okay.
One of the things we've started working with people on is trying to envision what you want to do in retirement. If you think, and we've talked about it on this show a lot, Doug, if you think about the phases of retirement, it's really in 3 phases. It's the go-go phase. When you first retire, you have the ability to do all the things you want to do.
Yeah, you're excited.
Yeah.
It's like your first day of school.
You're going to spend more money.
Yeah.
It's just the bottom line. If you like to shop, but you've been working all your life, well, now you have every day to go shopping. Then you're going to hit the next phase of your life, which is the slow go phase. And, ironically, I took my in-laws down to our lake house, and we were there, and they're in the slow-go phase. They don't have the desire to get out and jump on the boat and drive around the lake anymore. But you know what they like to do? They like to go to a nice dinner.
Yeah.
It's just slower. The money people spend in that slow-go phase is typically significantly less than they spend in that go-go phase. Then you hit the no-go phase. But here's what people need to really think about. When I hit the go-go phase, if I've been living on $8,000 a month, what is it going to be now? Is it going to be $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 a month? Or do I want to create a plan where I can start scheduling in? I want to spend $20,000 a year on vacations for the first 6 years and really dial this thing in. And that's how people will go from 4%, say they're living in the dream, to something higher because they envisioned it before they got there.
And that's the whole thing is the unexpected expenses really creep in there, and they can just chew into all of this money that you have within your system. For example, medical and Medicare expenses significantly higher than people expect, but you have a plan for that because you put that as part of the equation, if you will, right, Roger?
Well, that's a good point. A lot of people think I turned 65 and Medicare pays for everything. Well, there's still premiums associated with Medicare.
Yeah.
There's sometimes premiums associated with whether you get a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage or a drug plan. Like there's still premiums there, and then it doesn't cover everything. So a lot of people underestimate that, especially if they're coming from an employer who's been paying for all of it. So throw a scenario out there. Someone tells me they want to spend $8,000 a month. Well, or that they've been spending $8,000 a month, but their employer has been paying for all their insurance or the vast majority of it. Okay, well, if you're 65, husband and wife, throw another $850 on there for your Medicare premiums, your supplement premiums, your drug plans. That's an underestimated cost by $1,000 a month, roughly. Yeah. So people underestimate what they're going to actually be spending throughout the course of their retirement.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? The financial professionals at Premier Investments and Wealth Management are the guides you've been looking for. Picture this, a financial plan tailored exclusively to you. Our team of experienced professionals will work closely with you to understand your aspirations and develop a personalized roadmap to get you there. Whether you're dreaming of retirement, buying a new home, or sending your kids to college, we've got the tools to give you confidence in your financial life. We'll help you navigate saving and investing, retirement income, and tax strategies. Our job is not just about making money, it's about helping our clients make smart choices. We'll provide you with the tools and knowledge to confidently steer your financial ship toward a brighter future. Are you ready to embark on your financial journey with confidence? Visit www.premieriwm.com to get started. Your financial future awaits.
This is the Premier Investments and Wealth Management Program on News Talk 1190 and newstalk1190.com. Doug Wagner along with Roger Abel. He's the owner and wealth advisor at Premier Investments and Wealth Management. Over 20 years of experience in the financial services industry. Things have changed significantly as well about the way that people save over the years, too. Back when my dad was going to work, it was either pension through the company or there was something through the union. Maybe he would save in a savings and loan. But when I was a kid, I first heard of mutual funds, and my dad was sort of the cutting edge of the way people saved. Now, the cutting edge isn't even 401ks at this point, but you find a lot of people aren't taking advantage of the 401ks the way that they need to, and that's helping them, hindering them from living the dream when they retire, Roger.
Yeah, I've been talking about this a lot, and I think what's ironic is we're approaching the first set of generation that their number one source of retirement income is going to be a 401k plan or a self-savings plan. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, the 401k plan wasn't even in existence until 1978. Yeah. Didn't exist. It just came up as an idea, and it was designed to actually supplement the pension. It wasn't designed to be everything for retirement. It's designed to be a supplement. And what's happened is companies in the 80s started exiting the defined contribution plans known as a pension, moving towards a 401k. And what it's done is it's put an extra amount of responsibility on the individual investor. they now bear two different risks. They bear the investment risk,
Right.
which, hey, the markets go up and down, but they also bear the longevity risk.
What's the longevity risk? What is that?
Well, how
mean?
long you live.
Oh, okay.
So if you think about it, like with the pension, it's like, hey, I know I'm going to get X amount of dollars each month.
Yeah.
I'm never going to run out of this pension amount. Now, inflation, different things could affect it, but no matter how long I live, I'm going to have this pension.
Right.
Now, the individual employee or retiree bears the risk of longevity risk. And that's probably one of the biggest risks out there. Right now in America, we have 122,000 people over age 100.
Whoa.
By 2054, it's 422,000.
And I learned from one of the first podcasts I did with you guys that the person, they say, science says, the first person to live to age 150 years is alive today.
Yeah.
Which just blows me away. We're now, post-COVID, we're now starting to recover some of that life expectancy. So we're also outliving the amount of money that we've saved for, too, because, the old, what do you have them? The old, in the actuarial tables, they keep updating them. We keep living longer. Maybe the quality of life isn't that good, but that's part of what you want to see people do as well. Part of living the dream is quality of life, Roger. Let's talk a little bit about that as well, and making sure that they have the quality of life, both through money, also the way that you work with people. It's part of the psychological investing too.
Yeah, the reason we do the financial plan is to give people a level of confidence. The Premier Vision document that we subscribe to, and what that is for people that don't know, the Premier Vision document is basically all of the results of the financial plan put into a single page that tells you the things people primarily want to know. How long is my money going to last? Am I on track for retirement? If not, what do I need to do to get on track? How much risk do I need to take? All summarized into one easy to understand Premier Vision document. And like we said, most people are short. If you look at the studies of how much people think they need to have saved versus what they're going to have saved, they're going to be 40% short. And I think we're going to start to see some issues in this country, mostly because people are vastly underestimating what they're going to need to do this. And it is the onerous responsibility that was passed to them by not having a pension. One of the things I think is important to know that's actually happening right now, there's large corporations starting to switch back from the defined contribution to the pension.
Right. And that's the strangest thing in the world, because it used to be that it was so expensive for them to do that. They just said, let's get rid of it. Why are they doing that now?
Employees aren't retiring with any level of satisfaction. I read an article this morning, one of the big auto industry unions, and I think their negotiations are back up in 2028. They're pushing to get the pension back.
So it's about the employee recruitment and retention.
You got it. Well, and being able to retire. Yeah. Here's the problem with 401k. For people who are really good with money, understand their relationship with money, they're not going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
It's a good tool. At the end of the day, most people aren't very good with money. Well, what happens when you turn 59 and a half? Oh man, we can go take money out of this thing. It's our piggy bank.
Yeah.
They don't know how to manage it. Where the pension guarantees they're going to have income. I think people need a little bit of a mind shift. The mind shift is, why did I save the money? I saved the money to generate income.
Yeah.
Not to have a pile of money, but people that aren't great with managing money see it as a pile of money, not as a resource to generate future income.
Exactly. They don't see that. That's why you need Premier Investments in Wealth Management, premieriwm.com. Just like Roger said, click on Get Started in the upper right hand of the page. And once you get there, you'll answer a few questions. Once from that, you get yourself a one-page Premier Vision document. Are you ready for retirement? Are you ready to get your kids going to college? Maybe that dream purchase that you have sometime. And you love fishing. Perfect for you. Somebody wants to be able to go out fishing in the Gulf, for a week, twice a year, something like that. It's not inexpensive. You got to be able to put that out there. Premier Investments in Wealth Management at premieriwm.com. On News Talk 1190 and newstalk1190.com. Doug Wagner with Roger Abel as we make our way to the end of the show. In addition to the problem that we have with the 4% people who are just sort of caught in a living nightmare as far as this. You got the opposite that are 4% are living the dream. Part of that changes in the way we spend. We have more credit card debt today than ever ever before.
And delinquencies are up 20%. But you know what? That's ironic. It's not ironic. We know people have changed the way they spend.
Right.
I got a statistic. In 1983, 65% of U.S. households had a credit card. 37% had a balance that they didn't pay every month.
Okay.
2022, 82% of adults have a credit card and 50% carry a balance. But here's the really hidden one that nobody's talking about. I've actually heard it just start to be talked about on some mainstream media.
Yeah.
But it's buy now, pay later.
Yep.
And, there's always a canary in the coal mine. Mm-hmm. And
you think that's it?
Here's the problem. It's not reported to credit agencies, Doug.
Okay.
We have no idea how much debt is out there on buy now, pay later. Mm-hmm. Well, if you've maxed out your credit cards, which we know people have, so saving rates are down, credit card balances at all-time high, delinquencies are up, where do you go? Because you're not going to stop spending money. We're a culture of just spend money. Yeah. That's why we have credit. You go to buy now, pay later. When you go apply for a loan, for a mortgage, guess what they don't know?
They don't know that.
How much that you have on buy now, pay later, they don't report to credit agencies.
Well, not only that, I mean, you have all these things. Say you have the credit cards and the mortgage and the vehicle loan, and then you do the buy now, pay later, something's going to get squeezed at that point.
Yeah, what are you not going to pay? One of those is not going to get paid. And then it starts the snowball effect, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, Roger, then people stop paying themselves first.
Most people don't pay themselves first because their budget's backwards. I mean, right?
Yeah.
You go ask someone what the first thing on their budget is other than how much they make. It's their mortgage payment. This is how much I have to pay for a place to live.
Yeah.
We've talked about before. What if someone flipped it around and said, well, if I work a 40-hour work week, the first 4 hours of the week, I'm going to keep that money.
Okay.
That's 10%. The rest I can give to somebody else. Most people just give it all to somebody else. Right. They're not actually saving it for themselves.
This is why a financial plan is necessary and critical with Premier Investments of Wealth Management, premieriwm.com. Technology is another thing. Speaking of .com, technology is another way that people have lost track of the way that they spend. It's so easy for the money to flow out of our pockets now and out of our bank accounts. Just wheedle out without us even knowing it.
It's not money anymore.
Yeah.
It's like casino chips.
Ping, 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 ping.
Right?
Ones and zeros.
Well, because, I'm guilty as anybody. Get on Amazon. I need that. I just had a whole three boxes show up at my house while I was on vacation that I ordered. Did I need 3 new Universal remote controls? No, but I couldn't find 2 of them. So I'm like, what do? I buy 3 new ones. They're at my house the next day.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, I had a couple pieces of fishing gear in there. But it's not real money because you don't actually give the physical cash. So that's the other issue with why people underestimate what they're going to spend. It's no longer I go to the store and give you $100 bill. You have to track all this online. So if you're doing all your shopping online, go try to have a budget and shop online. It's really hard. Yeah. My wife and I, we used to do the whole envelope thing. Well, that was before you did online shopping.
Exactly.
Pretty soon it's like, well, here's my $22 I spent online for my reimbursement. It was just silliness. But it has changed, so it's actually affected how people rack up this debt.
Right.
Are people putting their debit card in there? They put in their credit card in there. They're putting their credit card in there.
They put their HSA card. They've all sorts of different cards because you've got all the little store cards that you have, and then you maybe have 2 or 3 other cards. You've got your miles card that you use, and there are so many there. It's like sometimes how do I keep track of this?
Think about it. They've actually turned the monetary system into like the casino. In a fashion. Why does casino give you chips?
Yeah.
You just said miles card, right?
Right.
People use their credit card because they think they're going to get perks.
Yeah.
When you go to the casino, guess what you get when you play enough?
Perks.
You get perks.
Yeah,
you get free
space.
rooms. You get free food. You get buffets. You get all that stuff. Why do they give you chips? Because it feels the same when you put a red chip versus a black chip. Because it's just a chip. But if you were putting dollar bills on the table, I'll bet people wouldn't freely just start putting 20s and 50s and 100s and stacking them on the table. It's just desensitizes how you spend money.
As we begin to wrap the program, retirement is not what many retirees expected from Premier Investments Wealth Management. Go to premieriwm.com. Find out more. News Talk 1190 and newstalk1190.com is where you're listening to Premier Investments and Wealth Management with Roger Abel. I'm Doug Wagner. Roger, the solution is education. Education and inspiring people. Let's talk about the first thing is that knowledge is confidence, so educate yourself.
Yeah, that's what we do for people. People always ask, why do you hire an advisor? And over time, this has changed, but there's three common things that hold true. People work with advisors, or really any professional, to delegate one of these four things, or all of them.
Yeah.
Time, desire, knowledge, and now it's technology. We just added technology.
Yeah.
It's always been time, desire, knowledge. Just think about, I haven't mowed my grass in 14 years. I don't have the time or the desire to do it. It's not that I can't do it. Well, in our industry, how many people actually have the time, desire, knowledge, and the technology to create a well-crafted financial plan to figure out what puts them on the right track to the best outcome in retirement? Very few people do. Very few people do. And that's really what we do for people at Premier Investments.
And I think one of the concerns people have, and we've heard it on the show before, is that people say, well, I'm just giving up my control to you at that point.
Not necessarily. We see ourselves as a compliment to most people. Most people that are in a good financial position have done a lot of it themselves. Doesn't mean we have to take everything somebody's done and tear it apart. We're really there to highlight the things that people are doing really well. But at the same time, expose some of the things that they could improve and really give people a much better level of financial confidence going into retirement.
One of the things that's neat about Premier Investments and Wealth Management is not only when your new customers come to you, are they interviewing you, but you're actually interviewing them as well.
Well, I just met a new prospect earlier today, and it needs to be mutually beneficial. And I truly believe this, that you should like the person you're working with.
Yeah.
That's what's actually going to get you through the chaotic times. There's one thing about investing in the stock market. At some point, there's going to be chaos. And the relationship you have with the person you're working with probably will determine your outcome more than anything else. Because if you trust that person, you like that person, you're going to believe what they say. But if there's a lack of doubt, if there's no trust, if you don't like the person, it's just going to lead to a less than optimal outcome for you if you're working with that type of individual.
Final thing is get a financial plan. If you don't have a financial plan, it's like, hey, I'm going to go to Poughkeepsie, and I know that it's somewhere out there. I don't have a map. I'm going to go down to, hey, you know what I like? I like Shiner Bach. So Shiner, Texas. I got an idea where Texas is, so I go down straight 35 south, but I don't know where Shiner is. You need a map.
It's funny you say map. We used to have maps. Now it's GPS.
Yeah.
Now, used to be you print out a MapQuest. Now what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're typing it into Google Maps or
it's technology.
Apple Maps. It's technology. But
yeah.
Think about it. It's all changed. But yeah, I think if anybody's looking to get a financial plan, if you want a second opinion of what you're doing, you can reach out to us at 800-383-6590. We'll do a couple of things. One, we'll see where you stand today. But two, we'll give you the right direction to get you where you want to go.
That's awesome. It makes so much sense. You know what? You could be part of the 44% that said, yeah, I'm comfortable. That's fine. You can be part of the 34% that said that things were not great but not bad. You could be part of the 15% that said they were struggling financially. You definitely don't want to be part of the 4% that said they were living the nightmare. Be that 4% that said, you know what? I'm living the dream. You can do it. You just need to plan. Premier Investments and Wealth Management waits for you right now online 24 hours a day at premieriwm.com. That's premieriwm.com. Fill in a little bit of information, and then after you click on Get Started, you will get a one-page Premier Vision document. For Roger Abel and for the staff over Premier Investments and Wealth Management, I'm Doug Wagner. We'll talk to you again soon here on News Talk 1190 and newstalk1190.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes.